The sun of the alien world glowed brighter than the human soldiers had expected. Its light was golden, yet different from Earth's sun. The air was thick with the scent of strange flowers, and the ground shimmered with a faint blue glow. To Sam, the youngest soldier of the group, everything felt like a dream. He had never stepped outside Earth before this mission, and now he stood on a planet that looked like a picture from a book he once read as a child. Sam held his weapon close, though he knew this mission was not about war. It was about peace. The humans had traveled far across space to form an alliance with the alien kingdom of Velora, a proud and mysterious civilization that held vast knowledge of stars and energy. Sam's officers had told him again and again that this was a chance for humanity to prove its worth, to show that they could stand as equals beside old and powerful alien empires. The landing area was filled with soldiers, banners, and glowing crystals set into tall pillars. The humans stood in a line, helmets polished, boots straight, trying to look impressive. Sam, however, felt too small among them. His uniform felt heavier than it should, and his hands trembled slightly. He was the newest recruit, barely out of training, and though he had studied hard, he never thought he would be part of something this important. Across the wide plaza, the Veloran people gathered. Their appearance was both beautiful and unsettling to Sam's eyes. They were tall, with silver blue skin that reflected light like smooth metal. Their eyes glowed faintly in different colors, and their movements were graceful, as if every step was part of a dance. Long robes covered their bodies, and the symbols of their houses shone like small stars on their chests. At the front of their group stood Princess Arya, the heir to Velora's throne. She was taller than most of her people, her hair flowing like threads of liquid silver, her gaze sharp and unshakable. The humans had been told that she was intelligent, skilled in politics, and trained in both art and war. To Sam, she looked like someone out of a legend, a figure too perfect to belong in reality. The human commander, Captain Harris, stepped forward and bowed slightly, showing respect without lowering himself too much. He introduced his squad, speaking clear and steady words about peace, unity, and trust. The Veloran nobles nodded politely, though their faces showed little emotion. Sam stayed quiet in the line, trying to control his nerves. He felt eyes on him, though he did not know whose. He shifted his stance and kept looking straight ahead. The ceremony continued, filled with words of alliance and promises of friendship. Then, something unexpected happened. Princess Arya's gaze moved slowly across the line of human soldiers. She studied each face carefully, her eyes shining brighter as if she was searching for something hidden. The nobles around her watched in silence, waiting for her judgment. When her gaze reached Sam, she stopped. For a long moment, she said nothing, only looked at him. Sam froze, his heart pounding. He did not know why she was staring at him. He was no hero, no leader. He was just the youngest soldier standing at the far end of the line. Then Arya raised her hand and pointed at him. Her voice rang clear across the plaza, strong enough to silence both groups. "That human will be mine." The words struck the air like thunder. The human soldiers shifted uncomfortably, exchanging nervous glances. Captain Harris's eyes widened, but he kept his posture firm. The Veloran nobles murmured in surprise, their glowing eyes flashing different colors, showing their disbelief. No one had expected this declaration. Sam himself could hardly breathe. His mouth went dry, and his mind felt blank. "Mine," he thought. "What does she mean?" Arya did not lower her hand. Her eyes stayed locked on Sam, calm and certain, as if she had just announced something inevitable. Captain Harris cleared his throat and tried to speak. "Your Highness, forgive me, but this soldier is the youngest among us. Perhaps there has been a misunderstanding." "There is no misunderstanding," Arya replied firmly. "I have chosen." The plaza buzzed with tension. Some of the alien nobles stepped forward, their voices rising in protest. "A human? The princess cannot claim a human. He is too fragile. He has no rank, no record, no name of honor." Others nodded, their voices sharp. "It is an insult to Velora. The heir should not lower herself." Arya silenced them with a single glance. "You see only what lies on the surface. I see what lies beneath. This human carries something that your eyes cannot measure. I will not change my choice." Sam's knees almost buckled. He felt the eyes of every soldier, every alien, every noble burning into him. His ears rang with the weight of what had just happened. Captain Harris looked at Sam, then back at the princess. He was a seasoned man, but even he struggled to find the right words. "With respect, Your Highness, the boy is not prepared for such an honor. He is young, untested." "That is why I have chosen him," Arya answered, her voice soft but steady. "What grows untested may become stronger than what has already hardened. Time will prove me right." Sam wished he could disappear. He wanted to step back into the ship and hide until this strange nightmare was over. He had never asked for attention, never wanted to stand out. Yet here he was, marked by the most powerful figure on this alien world. The rest of the ceremony struggled to continue, but the air remained heavy with shock. Every word felt thin compared to what had already been declared. When the gathering ended, the humans were guided to their quarters within the alien city. The buildings were carved from crystal and stone, glowing with inner light. The soldiers whispered among themselves, throwing curious glances at Sam. Some looked jealous, others confused, and a few even angry, believing that this could cause trouble. Inside his room, Sam sat on the edge of his bed, head in his hands. He kept replaying the scene in his mind, the sound of Arya's voice repeating again and again. "That human will be mine." He whispered to himself, "Why me? Out of all of them, why me?" He had no answer. Meanwhile, in the great hall of Velora, the nobles gathered around Arya, demanding explanations. They spoke of danger, of scandal, of weakness. Yet Arya remained calm. She simply told them that her choice was made, and time would reveal the truth. That night, Sam lay awake, staring at the ceiling of his glowing chamber. He felt small, powerless, and uncertain. But deep inside, a strange feeling began to grow, one he did not fully understand. It was the first spark of something greater, though he could not yet see what path it would lead him to. The city of Velora shone like a jewel under the twin moons. Its towers rose high, made of crystal and stone, glowing faintly with stored energy. Roads stretched out in smooth silver lines, and gardens floated above canals of clear water. The human soldiers had never seen a place like this. For Sam, every corner of the city felt unreal, as though he had stepped into a world from a tale told by elders. But no beauty of the city could silence the weight in his chest. Ever since Princess Arya had pointed at him and spoken her claim, Sam had felt the eyes of everyone around him. Human soldiers whispered about him. Alien nobles stared at him with either suspicion or open disapproval. Even the ordinary citizens, when they heard the news, looked at him with curiosity. He wished he could hide, but hiding was impossible. He had been marked. That evening, Captain Harris called Sam into a private chamber. The captain stood tall, his face serious, his arms folded behind his back. Around him were two senior officers and one of the Valoran advisors, a tall alien with glowing yellow eyes named Lord Saren. "Sit down, Sam," Harris said. Sam obeyed quickly, his hands resting stiffly on his knees. He tried to look calm, though his heart raced. "You know why you are here," Harris continued. "The princess has declared something unusual. It has put us in a difficult position. Do you understand the weight of this?" "Yes, sir," Sam said quietly. "Then explain to me why she would choose you," Harris pressed. His tone was not cruel, but it was sharp. "Out of all the trained men, out of all the skilled officers, why you? Do you know?" Sam shook his head. "I don't, sir. I don't know why she did it. I did nothing to deserve it." Lord Saren stepped forward, his voice smooth and deep. "The princess does not speak without reason. She claims to see something others cannot. But her decision has unsettled many of our people. Some believe she has insulted Velora by choosing one so untested." "I agree," Harris said. "Sam, this choice could weaken the alliance. Some of your fellow soldiers already question it. If the nobles decide to press this matter, it may turn into conflict." Sam's throat tightened. "Then what should I do, sir?" Harris studied him for a long moment, then sighed. "For now, you will remain quiet. Do not seek her out. Do not encourage this claim. We will find a way to ease this matter without insult." Sam nodded, relieved to have direction, though deep down he knew it was not so simple. Arya had spoken in front of the entire plaza. Those words could not be erased by silence. When Sam left the chamber, he walked through the glowing halls, lost in thought. Soldiers passed him, some nodding, others whispering behind his back. He felt smaller with each step, as though the walls themselves judged him. Later that night, he found himself walking alone in one of the floating gardens. The air was soft, and strange birds sang in the branches. Sam leaned on the railing, staring at the water below. He wondered what his life would become. He wondered if he would even be allowed to return to Earth when this mission ended. A voice behind him broke the silence. "You are troubled." Sam turned quickly. Princess Arya stood a few steps away. She wore a robe of deep blue, and her silver hair caught the moonlight. Her eyes glowed faintly, calm and steady. Sam stiffened. "Your Highness," he said awkwardly, bowing his head. "There is no need for such formality when we are alone," Arya said, walking closer. "You fear my words have trapped you." Sam swallowed hard. "Everyone is angry because of what you said. The captain is worried. The nobles are against it. I do not understand why you chose me." Arya stopped in front of him, studying his face with sharp eyes. "Do you believe you are weak?" "Yes," Sam admitted, almost ashamed. "I am the youngest. I have no record. I have no victories. I am not strong like the others." A faint smile touched Arya's lips. "That is why you do not see yourself clearly. Strength is not always shown in battle. Courage is not always proven with a blade. I saw something when I looked at you. It was not your body, not your rank, not your skill. It was your heart. You hold a spirit that refuses to break, even when fear grips you." Sam shook his head. "You cannot know that from only looking at me." Arya leaned closer, her eyes glowing brighter. "My people see beyond flesh. We feel the currents of life, the threads of fate. When I looked at you, I felt a spark. It is small, yes, but sparks can become fire. I chose you because I believe that fire will one day change more than you can imagine. Sam's breath caught in his chest. Her words were strange, yet they carried a weight that pressed deep into him. He wanted to deny them, but he could not. Something in her voice stirred the same strange feeling he had felt on the first night, the faint spark he did not understand. You put me in danger, he whispered. Your nobles hate me now. My own commander doubts me. Yes, Arya said calmly. The path ahead will not be easy. But it is yours now, and it is mine as well. I do not claim you as property. I claim you as a partner in fate. In time, you will see. Sam did not know how to answer. He stood frozen, lost between fear and wonder. Arya turned her gaze to the glowing city below. The nobles will test you. They will question you. Some may even challenge you. Do not run from it. Stand, even when you shake. That is all I ask. She looked at him once more, her eyes softer now. Rest, Sam. Tomorrow will bring more storms. With that, she walked away, her figure fading into the silver light of the gardens. Sam remained alone, staring after her. His heart pounded with confusion, but also with a strange warmth he could not explain. The next morning, the storm she spoke of arrived. The great council of Velora gathered in the central hall, a vast chamber filled with glowing pillars and high windows. Nobles of every house were present, their robes bright with symbols of power. The humans stood on one side, watching carefully, their expressions guarded. Sam stood at the very end, wishing he could vanish. Lord Saren spoke first, his voice booming. Princess Arya, your claim has shaken Velora. You chose a human youth, untested and unknown. Many of us see this as a danger to the honor of our throne. Explain yourself. Arya rose from her seat, tall and proud. I need not explain. My choice is mine to make. Yet I will speak. This human carries a spirit unseen by most of you. He may be young, but strength lies ahead of him. If Velora cannot see beyond old measures, then Velora will fall behind in the new age. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some nobles shook their heads. Others looked curious. A tall noble with red glowing eyes stepped forward. Then let the human prove himself. If he carries the spirit you speak of, let him stand in our trial. If he fails, your claim will be broken, and this foolishness will end. The hall erupted with voices of agreement. Sam's blood ran cold. A trial? What kind of trial? He looked at Captain Harris, who frowned deeply. The captain's jaw tightened, but he said nothing, knowing refusal could destroy the fragile alliance. Arya's gaze swept across the chamber, then returned to Sam. Her voice was calm but firm. So be it. He will stand in the trial of strength and heart. Sam's heart sank. He wanted to shout that he was not ready, that he could not face such a thing. But when Arya's eyes met his, steady and certain, he felt the spark inside him flare again. He did not understand it, yet it gave him enough strength to keep standing. The council declared that the trial would be held in 3 days. Until then, Sam was to remain in the city under guard, watched closely by both humans and aliens. That night, Sam lay awake once more, staring at the ceiling of his chamber. He felt fear like a storm inside him, but he also felt something else, something he could not name. For the first time, he wondered if the princess might be right. The 3 days passed quickly, and each one felt heavier than the last for Sam. He tried to train, to prepare, but no amount of running, sparring, or practice could calm the storm inside him. The Valoran city seemed to watch him wherever he went. The soldiers whispered. The nobles judged. Even his fellow humans avoided his eyes, unsure of what to say to him. Sam often wondered why he did not simply collapse under the pressure. Yet each time he thought about giving up, the memory of Princess Arya's voice echoed in his mind. Stand, even when you shake. Those words kept him moving. When the day of the trial arrived, the entire city gathered. The arena stood at the heart of Velora, carved deep into the crystal ground. Its walls rose high, glowing with energy. Thousands of alien citizens filled the seats, their glowing eyes watching with both excitement and doubt. The humans sat together in one section, silent but tense. Sam stood in the center of the arena, his hands shaking as he gripped a simple staff given to him by the trial masters. He wore no armor, only light clothes, the same as every challenger before him. The trial was old, older than any living Valoran. It was said to test not just strength but heart, spirit, and wisdom. Few outsiders had ever faced it, and none had ever passed. A booming voice filled the arena. The trial of strength and heart begins. Step forward, human. Sam took a breath and stepped into the first circle. His throat felt dry, but he forced himself to move. The ground beneath him shifted, glowing symbols spreading in patterns. A wall of light formed, sealing him inside. The crowd hushed. The first challenge appeared. Out of the ground rose 3 stone figures, tall and heavy, shaped like warriors with glowing eyes. They carried weapons made of crystal, sharp and strong. Sam's heart pounded. He knew he could not match their strength. His body was not built like theirs, and his training was not enough. But running was not an option. The first figure attacked, its blade swinging fast. Sam barely rolled aside, the strike shattering the ground where he had stood. The second followed, and Sam raised his staff, blocking, though the force threw him back. Pain shot through his arms, but he did not let go. The crowd murmured, some expecting him to fall quickly. But Sam's eyes narrowed. He remembered what his training officer had once told him, if you cannot fight with power, fight with your mind. He began to move differently. Instead of trying to block every strike, he used the arena itself. He ducked under swings, rolled around the stone legs, and struck weak points with his staff. He was not strong enough to break them, but he was clever enough to unbalance them. One of the stone figures stumbled, crashing into another. The crowd gasped. Sam pressed on, striking joints, pushing one enemy into the path of another. His body screamed with pain, but his mind stayed sharp. At last, the 3 stone warriors collapsed into dust, their glowing eyes fading. The light wall around the first circle vanished, and the crowd erupted in voices, some shocked, some impressed. Sam bent over, gasping, sweat dripping down his face. His arms ached, but he was still standing. The second circle lit up ahead. Sam stepped forward, though his legs shook. This time, the trial changed. A deep mist rose from the floor, covering the arena in a thick cloud. Strange whispers filled the air, voices that were not real but pressed into his mind. They spoke of failure, of weakness, of fear. They told him he was nothing, that he should give up. Sam staggered, clutching his head. The mist twisted into shapes, showing him visions of his past. He saw his training days, when others had outshone him. He saw his failures, his mistakes, the times he had been told he was too small, too weak. The whispers grew louder. You will fail. You will shame your people. You are not chosen. You are nothing. Sam fell to his knees. His chest tightened, his breath shallow. The weight of doubt pressed like chains around him. But then, through the mist, he remembered Arya's words again. I do not claim you as property. I claim you as a partner in fate. Her voice cut through the whispers like light through shadow. Sam lifted his head, his teeth clenched. I am not nothing, he whispered. I may be weak, but I am not broken. The mist pressed harder, but he forced himself to rise. He staggered forward, each step heavy. The whispers tried to drown him, but he kept speaking louder, I am human. I will not stop. With each word, the mist began to fade. The whispers grew weaker, and the visions dissolved. At last, the mist vanished entirely, leaving Sam standing tall in the second circle. The crowd sat in stunned silence. Few had ever seen someone break through the trial of the heart so quickly. The final circle awaited. Sam stepped forward, though his body trembled from exhaustion. The last challenge was unlike the others. The ground opened, revealing a wide chasm filled with energy. A single narrow bridge stretched across, glowing faintly. On the other side, a pedestal stood with a shining crystal. A voice filled the arena. The last test is not of battle, but of choice. Cross the bridge and claim the crystal, but know this, the bridge will test your every step. If your spirit wavers, you will fall. Sam stared at the bridge. It looked fragile, like glass. The chasm below glowed with raw power, and he knew falling would mean death. His legs shook, but he stepped forward anyway. Each step felt like walking on air. The bridge swayed and pulsed with energy. His fear clawed at him, but he kept his eyes forward. He remembered the mist, the whispers, the stone warriors. He remembered surviving each one not because of strength, but because he refused to quit. Halfway across, the bridge shook violently. Sam nearly fell, his arms flailing. The crowd gasped. His chest pounded, but he dropped to his knees, crawling forward. Stand, even when you shake, he whispered to himself. Slowly, painfully, he forced himself up again. His legs wobbled, but he kept going. Step by step, he crossed the bridge, until finally he reached the pedestal. He placed his hand on the crystal. A surge of light surrounded him, wrapping him in warmth. The crowd erupted with voices, some cheering, others stunned into silence. The light faded, and Sam stood holding the crystal. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths, but his eyes shone with quiet fire. The trial was complete. Princess Arya rose from her seat, her silver hair glowing under the twin moons. She spoke clearly, her voice carrying across the arena. You see now. This human is not fragile. He is not weak. He has faced what many of our own could not, and he still stands. The nobles murmured, many unable to deny the truth. Even those who doubted could not ignore what they had witnessed. Sam looked up at Arya. For the first time, he did not feel like the smallest soldier in the squad. He felt like something more, though he did not yet know what. The trial had not only tested him. It had changed him. That night, as the city buzzed with talk of his victory, Sam lay in his chamber once more. His body ached, his mind swirled, but inside him burned a spark brighter than ever. He knew now that his journey was only beginning. The city of Velora did not sleep after the trial. Citizens filled the streets, their glowing eyes reflecting excitement and disbelief. Some celebrated the young human who had stood against the ancient trial and survived. Others muttered with discontent, claiming it was a trick or that fate had played a cruel joke on their people. Sam could feel the shift in the air wherever he walked. For the first time, the whispers were not only of doubt. Some eyes followed him with respect, others with cautious curiosity. Yet, not all gazes were kind. In the shadows of Velora's great towers, voices of anger grew louder. Sam sat in his chamber that evening, staring at the crystal he had claimed during the trial. It glowed faintly, warm in his hands. He did not understand why it had chosen him, or why he had not fallen when others before him had failed. All he knew was that the trial had changed him. His heart felt stronger, steadier. The fear was still there, but it no longer ruled him. As he sat in thought, a knock sounded on his door. He stood quickly and opened it to find Princess Aria. She wore simple robes this time, her silver hair tied back, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. "May I enter?" she asked. Sam nodded, stepping aside. She walked in with the grace of someone who belonged in every room she entered. Sam felt awkward in her presence, as always. "You have done more than I expected," Arya said softly. "Even the council cannot deny what they saw today." Sam lowered his eyes. "I only survived because I refused to quit. I don't know if that means anything great." Arya smiled faintly. "It means everything. Many fall because they give up before the end. You did not. That is why I chose you." Before Sam could answer, a sudden alarm echoed through the city. A deep horn shook the walls, and lights flared across the towers. Both humans and aliens rushed into the streets. Arya's smile faded. She looked toward the window, her eyes narrowing. "It begins sooner than I thought." "What begins?" Sam asked, his chest tightening. "The storm," Arya replied. Moments later, Captain Harris burst into the room. His face was hard, his voice sharp. "The city is under attack. Enemy ships have broken through the outer defenses." Sam's heart pounded. He followed Harris and Arya out onto the balcony. In the skies above Velora, dark shapes cut through the clouds, ships that did not bear the colors of the Alliance. Energy fire streaked across the night, striking towers and shaking the ground. Arya's expression grew fierce. "The warlords have moved. They fear what the trial revealed. They would rather burn the city than see humans rise beside us." The first explosions rocked the lower districts, and panic filled the streets. Citizens fled while soldiers rushed to hold the gates. The human squad gathered quickly, weapons ready, their eyes on Harris. "Form groups," Harris ordered. "Protect the civilians and hold the line until reinforcements arrive." Sam gripped his weapon, his fear threatening to return. But then he saw the people below, the children, the families, the wounded struggling to escape. Something inside him hardened. He could not stand still. Arya looked at him, reading his thoughts. "Go," she said firmly. "Guide them. Show them the strength you showed in the trial." Sam nodded. He gathered a small group of humans and Veloran guards and led them into the streets. The city burned around them, fires climbing the towers, enemy soldiers breaking through the gates with heavy weapons. They fought through the chaos, Sam shouting directions, guiding the group to protect as many as possible. His voice was not the loudest, but it was steady, and people listened. In one narrow street, a group of enemy soldiers blocked their way, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. Sam's team froze, unsure how to push forward. Sam studied the buildings, the shadows, the layout. He saw a path. Through the side, he said quickly. Break the wall. It will take us behind them. The guards followed his command, blasting through a side wall and leading the civilians through. Sam covered the rear, striking when the enemy turned. His staff cracked against armor, his weapon fired when needed. He was no master, but he fought with heart. By the time they reached the safe zone near the inner towers, Sam's arms ached and his lungs burned. But the civilians were alive, and his group had held together. Arya met them there, her blade shining, her robe torn from battle. She had fought beside her people, her silver hair streaked with ash. Yet her eyes still glowed with unbroken fire. You see, she said to the nobles who had doubted him, her voice ringing across the courtyard. Even in war, this human does not fall. He leads, he protects. He is more than you believed. Some nobles turned away in silence, ashamed. Others still muttered, unwilling to change their pride. But Sam had no time to think of their judgment. The enemy pressed closer, their ships pouring more troops into the city. The walls shook, and the gates cracked. Harris gathered his squad. We hold here, he said firmly. If the gates fall, the heart of Velora is lost. Sam stood beside him, his staff in one hand, his weapon in the other. He was tired, but he refused to back down. The battle raged through the night. Fire lit the sky, and the sound of weapons echoed through every street. Sam fought side by side with humans and aliens alike, his fear drowned by the need to protect those around him. At one point, he saw Arya surrounded by enemies, her blade flashing as she fought to keep them back. Without thinking, Sam charged in, striking from behind and pulling her clear. She looked at him, her breath heavy, her eyes fierce, and for a moment, they stood together like equals. When the dawn finally came, the city still stood. The enemy ships retreated, their attack broken by the fierce defense. The towers of Velora were scarred, but not destroyed. The people, though shaken, were alive. Sam stood on the walls, his clothes torn, his body covered in bruises, but his eyes steady. He looked out at the horizon where the enemy had fled. He knew they would return. Behind him, the people began to chant his name. First softly, then louder, until the entire courtyard echoed with it. Even some nobles joined, though reluctantly. Arya stepped beside him, her voice calm but proud. You have done more than I hoped. Today, you did not just survive. You became a leader. Sam shook his head. I only did what I had to do. That is what makes you worthy, Arya said. The rising storm had not ended. It had only begun. But for the first time, Sam no longer doubted himself. He knew he could face it. The battle had proven that humans were not fragile, not weak. They could stand beside Velora and fight for the future. And Sam, the youngest soldier, had shown the way. As the sun rose over the battered city, Sam gripped his staff tighter. The storm had risen, but so had he. The city of Velora woke slowly the morning after the attack. Smoke still curled from the upper towers, and the streets were filled with debris. Citizens moved carefully among the rubble, helping each other, comforting children, and tending to the wounded. Sam walked through the streets alongside Princess Arya. His clothes were torn, his arms sore, and his face streaked with ash. Yet his eyes held a quiet determination. The battle had changed him. No longer was he the nervous, youngest soldier who had stepped onto this alien world weeks ago. He had faced the trial of strength and heart, survived impossible challenges, and now he had led people through real danger. He understood what it meant to protect others, to be brave when fear wanted to control him, and to inspire those who had doubted him. Arya looked at him, her silver hair catching the early sunlight. Her expression was unreadable for a moment, then softened. Today you have proven yourself in ways even the trial could not measure. You have shown courage, wisdom, and heart. You are no longer just a soldier. You are someone the people can follow. Sam shook his head slightly. I only did what I had to. I didn't do it for praise or recognition. Arya's lips curved into a small smile. That is what makes your actions remarkable. True leadership is not about seeking honor, but about standing when others cannot. You have done exactly that. As they walked, the people of Velora began to notice them. Some bowed deeply, some nodded respectfully, and some whispered words of admiration. Even the nobles, many of whom had doubted the young human, were forced to acknowledge his courage. Lord Saren approached, his glowing eyes fixed on Sam. He was a tall figure, always stern, but now he carried a weight of respect in his posture. Human, he said carefully, it appears your actions have spoken louder than any words. The council has discussed, and while some remain skeptical, most agree that you have earned your place here, beside the princess. Sam nodded, not knowing what to say. He had never sought recognition. Yet, he felt a sense of pride that did not make him arrogant. It was the quiet pride of someone who had faced fear and stood firm. Arya took Sam's hand gently, her touch both warm and steady. This bond, she said, is not only mine to declare. It is a partnership. You have earned the right to walk beside me as an equal, in duty and in trust. Sam felt a rush of emotion. He had never imagined such a moment. He had felt fear, doubt, and weakness, and yet here he was, recognized not for his rank or strength, but for his heart and spirit. The council met later that day in the Great Hall. Nobles filled the space, and the humans were present as observers. Arya spoke first, her voice strong and clear. Sam has proven that humanity can rise to meet challenges beyond imagination. He has faced trials no one expected him to survive, and he has led our people through peril with courage and wisdom. His presence beside me is not a threat, but a promise of unity and strength. A few voices rose in protest, but most remained silent. It was clear that even those who disagreed could not deny the evidence of Sam's deeds. Lord Saren addressed the room. Princess Arya, your choice was unconventional. Yet the human has shown wisdom, strength, and heart. It is clear that he is worthy of our trust. The council murmured their agreement. Though some remained cautious, the bond between Sam and Arya was no longer questioned. It was recognized, not only by decree but by proof. That evening, as the city recovered from the attack, Sam walked with Arya through the gardens. The soft glow of floating plants reflected in the water, and the air was filled with the scent of alien flowers. For the first time in weeks, Sam felt a quiet peace. Do you understand now why I chose you? Arya asked softly. Sam thought for a moment. I think I understand. You didn't choose me because I was strong or skilled. You chose me because I refused to give up, even when I was afraid. And I suppose I see now that courage comes in many forms, not just in battle. Arya nodded. Exactly. Strength is measured not only in the body, but in the heart. You have both, though you may not yet realize it fully. Sam smiled faintly. I hope I continue to prove worthy of your trust. You already have, Arya said. And together, we will face what comes next. Over the following days, Velora slowly returned to normal. The citizens rebuilt their homes, repaired the towers, and tended to those wounded in battle. Sam worked alongside them, guiding human and alien volunteers, giving instructions, and helping lift debris. Though his body was tired, his spirit remained strong. The human squad stayed with him, supporting him, and learning from his example. Even Captain Harris had changed. Where once he had doubted Sam, now he watched with quiet respect, understanding that true strength often came from unexpected places. One afternoon, Arya and Sam visited the central plaza. Citizens had gathered to celebrate the victory and honor those who had fought to defend the city. Children ran between the adults, carrying banners, while families offered gifts and flowers to the soldiers. Arya raised her hand, calling for silence. "People of Velora," she said, "today we celebrate not only survival, but unity. This human, Sam, has proven that courage and heart know no boundaries. He has stood beside us, fought beside us, and led us through danger. Let him serve as an example of what humans can achieve." The crowd erupted in cheers. Sam felt overwhelmed, but he stood tall, acknowledging the praise with humility. He looked at Arya, who nodded proudly at him. As the celebration continued, Sam realized something important. He was no longer just a soldier. He had become a symbol of hope, a bridge between humans and Velora. His journey had begun with fear, but it had led him to courage, respect, and now, to partnership. That night, Sam and Arya stood together on the balcony of the palace. The city stretched out below, calm now, the glow of lanterns reflecting in the water. Stars filled the sky above, and the twin moons shone softly. "You have changed, Sam," Arya said quietly. "You are no longer the boy who first arrived here. You have grown into someone remarkable." "I am still learning," Sam replied. "But I feel ready. Ready to face whatever comes next, with you." Arya placed a hand gently on his shoulder. "Then we face it together. Humanity and Velora, side by side. We will build a future stronger than any one of us alone." Sam felt a sense of peace he had never known. The fear, the doubt, and the trials of the past weeks had forged him into something new. He had discovered that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. He had learned that leadership came from heart, not just skill. And he had realized that bonds of trust and friendship could bridge worlds. In the days that followed, Sam continued to train and work with both humans and Velorans. He learned their ways, shared his own knowledge, and built connections that would last for years. The city, now stronger after the attack, flourished, and the alliance between humans and Velora became a symbol of what could be achieved when different peoples worked together. Arya and Sam grew closer, not just as partners in fate, but as friends who respected and trusted each other completely. Their bond became a beacon of hope for the people, showing that courage, heart, and unity could overcome even the greatest challenges. And for Sam, the journey had only just begun. The storms of the universe would come again, but he now knew that he could face them. He had learned the true meaning of strength, the value of trust, and the power of a heart that refused to give up. Together, Sam and Arya looked toward the horizon, ready to meet whatever challenges awaited. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape, side by side.